Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, more fallout over Bahamasair's missed deadline. Consumers sound off on the plastics ban. A mother still mourning the loss of her son to murder. Plus, an update on national exams for students affected by Hurricane Dorian.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Bahamians taking the national flag carrier to task today after 3 Bahamasair jets were banned from flying into the U.S. due to the airline's failure to meet a crucial deadline. Opposition leader Philip Davis also slammed the minister administration, calling the situation mismanagement at its finest.
The minister must have known that this was coming and failed to advise his colleagues of the need to address what was coming.
Bahamasair's executive team was locked in an intense meeting this morning as public outrage spread over 3 of Bahamasair's 4 jets which are unable to fly into the U.S. 3 of the airline's 737 Classics missed the January 1st deadline to be equipped with navigational kits required by the Federal Aviation Administration. And Bahamians took to social media to vent their frustrations. One person wrote, "Those navigation kits should have been ordered 6 months in advance." Another said, "Call the supervisor, this is a mess." While this user insisted they knew about the mandate from 2010 when the FAA said ADS-B January 1st, 2020. Another said, "I'd like to know how Bahamasair will not be affected if you're now flying ATRs versus 737. There's a seat capacity difference." Airline Chairman Tommy Turnquest told Our News the supplier did not provide the kits in time. However, PLP leader Philip Davis says the blame shouldn't be placed on the supplier, but management at Bahamasair and the minister administration.
I don't understand, but that seemed to be a dropping of the ball. If they're changing suppliers, what that suggests is that they had engaged in a supplier to perform the work.
Those jets can't fly into the U.S. until those kits are installed sometime in March. This means the jets are carrying out flight services to and from the Family Islands, Cuba, and Haiti. The Bahamasair chairman insisted there has been no disruption of Bahamasair's flight services. However, Davis, who had ministerial responsibility for Bahamasair under the previous Christie administration, said using those big jets with such a huge seating capacity for flights to the Family Islands doesn't make financial sense.
They are going to burn fuel to fly 10 to 40 people on a 128-seat jet to our Family Islands. How is that financially sensible or sustainable?
In February 2019, Bahamasair commissioned a brand new Boeing 737 jet, an investment of $11.4 million with a seating capacity of 138. But could this latest Bahamasair blunder have been avoided? A decade ago, in 2010, the FAA issued the requirements set to be met for airspace in January 2020. We asked Davis if this was something that could have been addressed under the previous PLP government.
The technical team at Bahamasair were reviewing that to make the recommendation as to what have been suitable aircrafts to accommodate and align with our plans for expansion of routes. And so it didn't make sense for us to address the installation of ATRs at that time when the decision had not yet been made as to whether or not we were going to keep those aircrafts.
3 days into the plastics ban, shoppers are sounding off on the recently enforced ban on single-use plastics. The Environmental Protection Bill banned the import of most single-use plastics after January 1st. Businesses will be allowed to get rid of existing stock of banned items up to July 1st, 2020. Most stores are charging between 25 cents and $1 per bag. However, as of July, it will be illegal for them to have them or provide them. Our News spoke with bagless shoppers today as they exited grocery stores.
I'm all for it because I believe in, yes, let's keep our environment safe. However, I think we had sufficient time last year to know and prepare ourselves. So it's kind of shocking when I came home, because I returned home yesterday, and I'm like, you have to buy, now you're paying 25 cents minimum.
Lots of people walking in with their hands swinging.
That's their choice. But if they go to the US, they'll do as the Romans do.
What happened to your bag, man?
Bye. Yeah. Plus, I can't afford to pay the extra 25 cents.
Are you just buying a reusable?
Huh?
Are you didn't buy the reusable?
I can't afford them right now. I got to wait on the first paycheck. check.
I don't understand after all the million of years using plastic, but they want to change things to change price.
Some shoppers could be seen exiting the stores carrying groceries in their hands without bags, clearly opting not to pay the extra 25 cents mandated by government for a plastic bag. Our News did not witness anybody who opted to purchase the plastic bags. In fact, some shoppers call the fee a major turnoff.
I don't see the sense in charging customers 25 cents for a bag that was free if the ban is actually up in June. I understand, from my understanding, they think the ban is on importing the plastic. So, and they had these bags, they were giving them out free, and now I have to pay a quarter for it. I don't see the sense of it at all.
So I feel a little tricked now because the customers now have to pay this price. I think that the business owners should be paying. Why should we have to pay for the bags? Because y'all trying to get rid of y'all stock. So yesterday, I was like, okay, I went in the jumble, I walked out, I hold myself in my hand, I say, today I can't do that. A little too cute to be walking out, holding my items in my hand. So I'm prepared today with my Kiwanis bag.
So what about all the other plastics? Things we buy come in plastic.
True.
What are we gonna do with those plastics? It's a bunch of crap.
Police on Andros have discovered the body of a man along with a 19-foot Mako boat about 18 miles off Morgan's Bluff, Andros. This discovery comes more than a week after 2 Andros men were reported missing. Harold Fitzgerald and Ryan Russell left Low Sound, Andros on Christmas Day for a fishing trip and hadn't been seen since. Police say they await an autopsy report to confirm the man's identity and the exact cause of death. Well, the mother of the man who was gunned down in the last murder of 2019 says she had a feeling her son was about to die. This as police make progress with their investigation into the young man's death. Jared Higgs reports.
Family members told Our News the victim of that early morning December 30th killing is Jermaine Williams Jr. According to police, the 21-year-old man was gunned down at around 2 a.m. near 2nd Street, Coconut Grove and Robinson Road. Chief Superintendent Solomon Cash providing an update on the police probe into the matter.
That investigation is progressing steadily. I can tell you that we are following some significant lead.
Williams' mother, Elizabeth Ferguson Emanuel, was too distraught to appear on camera. However, the grieving mother told the Nassau Guardian that on the night of her son's death, she received a photo from him that made her suspicious and gave her the feeling that her son was going to die.
Yeah, in the picture, his face is swollen, and so I looked at him. I said, "Really, baby? Yes, Mom." I said, "Okay." And right then, it's like something spoke to me and said, "Yes, son is going to die."
She says Williams Jr. had some problems with the law before and was sometimes swayed in the wrong direction. Senior police officers also suggesting that they have a person of interest in connection with his death.
But it's getting too early to tell you exactly who the suspect may be in that particular homicide.
According to Our News records, Williams' death was the 96th homicide for 2019. That figure represents a 5.5% increase in killings when compared to the 91 murders reported in 2018. Just days after his killing, 36-year-old Marco Meadows was gunned down 1 street over on 3rd Street, Coconut Grove. Some residents expressing shock that the year got off to a deadly start.
The year just started, you don't have a murder already. That shouldn't even happen, man. People want to be free in their own country.
Well, I hope we don't have no more crime, but we already had one for the year. So like it's coming the same thing. It ain't gonna stop, it ain't gonna get no better. We pray that it get better, but it ain't like it can get no better.
But this year just began. But there's always a concern we lose a life on the streets of the province, all in the Bahamas. So the police will remain focused. We have our strategies in place, and we will continue to move with our strategies. Hopefully, we prevent incidents like this from happening.
Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson is expected to release the Royal Bahamas Police Force official 2019 crime statistics next week. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
While following a steady stream of donations following the passage of Hurricane Dorian, Director of the National Emergency Management Agency, Captain Stephen Russell, says $9 million has been deposited to NEMA's account. He says NEMA continues to work feverishly to assist with reconstruction efforts on the impacted islands. Giorgio Bain has more.
Now, some $6 million has already been spent on the reconstruction of Abaco and Grand Bahama following the passage of Hurricane Dorian. Now, Captain Stephen Russell says that he feels that the National Emergency Management Agency did all it could following the passage of the deadly storm, and they're working on plans to better their management skills for the 2020 hurricane season.
As of this date, some $9 million in cash donations have been received from the general public, Corporate Bahamas, international and regional partners, some $9 million have been deposited to our donations account. As we stand now, expenditures, not just from this $9 million, funds we had on account prior to the hurricane season, and other funds that were channeled to the operation by government, $6,910,742.81 have been dispersed in expenditures.
Russell defended NEMA amid questions of the agency's relevance given the creation of the Disaster Relief Authority as well as the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness, Management and Reconstruction. He insisted those other government agencies do not diminish NEMA's functions at all.
The authority and NEMA, we both fall under the ministry. NEMA has its clear role. NEMA's tasks will continue like we've been doing with mitigation, preparedness, response, relief, and recovery. Those are basic elements of a disaster management cycle. The authority, their task is now to move us from recovery into reconstruction, medium term and long term.
According to the agency's director, there are several changes they hope to make ahead of the 2020 hurricane season, including being better equipped to handle the overwhelming amount of assistance from the international community.
We saw where we were overwhelmed to a certain extent with donors coming forward. They came forward in a generous way. Again, we now look at how we can better manage the influx or the flow of donors coming to render support.
Reporting for our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
All right, thanks, Giorgio. Still to come, why government won't be able to adjust the national exam schedule for students affected by Hurricane Dorian. Stay tuned.
From TV to phone to fast internet, how can we show appreciation for the 25 years you've been with Rev? To celebrate our 25th birthday, Rev is rewarding 250 lucky customers with $250,000 cash back. Simply switch to Trio, upgrade to Trio, or pay your bill in full and have your chance to win cash this Christmas. Just call 601-8992 or email us at trio@cablebahamas.com. Rev, you and us together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. 2020 will signal the end of the Bahamian 1-cent coin. By the end of the year, the penny will no longer be recognized as legal currency. As some Bahamians continue to slam the move, Central Bank Governor John Roll sat down with Jasmine Brown to explain why officials decided to discontinue the Bahamian 1-cent.
The term loose change is set to take on a new meaning this year as the 1-cent coin is expected to be taken out of circulation by the end of 2020. While it may come as a surprise to some and be a sore point for others, it's a move that the central bank has no intention of reversing. The decision to axe Bahamian pennies was announced by Central Bank Governor John Roll in October. In an exclusive interview with our news team, he insisted there were two things that led to the controversial decision.
Cost and convenience.
So why is the central bank getting rid of the 1-cent coin? Well, Roll says there are several reasons. First, the officials commissioned a study in 2018 to examine the need for the continued issuance of the 1-cent coin, taking into account the use of, demand for, and cost of producing and issuing the coin. The bank found that it cost $443,000 to distribute the 1-cent coin, and it could save $7 million over 10 years by eliminating the penny. The last time pennies were manufactured was in 2015.
Pennies cost more than they're worth to produce. A lot of the pennies that are given to people, whether it's at the cash register or from a bank withdrawal, people don't use, or they're lost. We estimate that as much as half of all the pennies that we ever produced are probably lost forever.
As for how payments will be processed without the use of 1-cent pieces, Roll says the removal of the coin will not have an effect on electronic payments, while cash payments will be rounded off to the nearest 5 cents on the total bill, not individual items. And here's the formula. 1 and 2 would be rounded down to 0. Example, $4.21 becomes $4.20. 3 and 4 would be rounded up to 5. Example, $7.23 becomes $7.25. 6 and 7 would be rounded down to 5. Example, $15.67 becomes $15.65. 8 and 9 would be rounded up to 10. Example, $27.89 would become $27.90. Roll says while the new system will take some getting used to, it's not as hard as some critics are making it out to be.
There's no need for businesses to scratch their heads and suddenly walk down the aisles and pay overtime to change all their prices to hold 5 cents or the equivalent. You just do that rounding. You don't need to invest in any new technology, to install any software on your system to do the rounding. It's a very simplified process.
January 31st, 2020 will be the central bank's last issuance of 1-cent coins, which can still be used as legal currency until December 30th, 2020. Following that date, the 1-cent coins will be demonetized and are no longer considered legal tender in the Bahamas. Consumers have until June 30th, 2021 to redeem their 1-cent coins at the central bank. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
It would be too problematic to give special consideration to displaced students taking national exams, according to Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd, who stressed that everything is being done to prepare students impacted by Hurricane Dorian for those exams. Bethany McDermott reports.
4 months after Hurricane Dorian devastated Abaco and Grand Bahama, affecting nearly 11,000 students and 800 teachers, the education minister said it's unlikely that the date for the national examinations, specifically the BGCSE, would be adjusted. Lloyd insisted changing the exam schedule would affect those students applying to colleges or students moving from junior high to senior high level.
We can't, because it has too many implications. You know, have to remember, there might be the ability to make some adjustments with regard to the BJC, but we can't certainly do it with the BGCSE. Because in order for us to do that, we would have to then push back scholarship decisions, admissions to universities, both here in New Providence as well as in the United States. Too many complications.
As for BJC examinations, Lloyd said a decision will be made on whether to adjust the schedule by the end of this month.
We haven't made that decision yet, and it is again because we want to be sure that we are not going to injure students who are going to be needing BJCs, say, to go into respective streams within the high schools. You know, they're going to be moving from junior high down to senior high, and it's all C.R. Walker, C.I. Gibsons, and so on. So those are very important for us to be considering, and I would say by the end of January, we will know for sure.
According to a report by the Inter-American Development Bank, Hurricane Dorian caused $72 million in damage to schools in the Bahamas. 45 educational facilities experienced varying levels of damage. 7 schools were destroyed. Lloyd stressed that the ministry is doing everything it can to ensure students displaced by the killer storm are prepared for the national exams.
We have additional classes. We have classes on Saturdays, Sundays, and on holidays. Classes afternoon. More tutorials are being provided so that they can be ready. And don't forget, we established a virtual school.
Last week, Lloyd revealed that repairs will begin on Abaco schools this month. Reporting for our news, I'm Bethany McDermott.
All right, thanks, Bethany. Still to come, the PLP calls a police abuse video concerning. Stay tuned.
From TV to phone to fast internet, how can we show appreciation for the 25 years you've been with Rev? To celebrate our 25th birthday, Rev is rewarding 250 lucky customers with $250,000 cash back. Simply switch to Trio, upgrade to Trio, or pay your bill in full and have your chance to win cash this Christmas. Just call 601-8992 or email us at trio@cablebahamas.com. Rev, you and us together.
Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell requesting an explanation from the police commissioner and calling for better training of officers. This after videos showing police officers beating young men at the 2020 New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade were widely circulated on social media. While the commissioner has been silent on the matter, Deputy Commissioner Paul Road said those who feel wronged by police have the opportunity to file a complaint.
That what surprises me still is that there is not anything between lethal force and your bare hands to deal with crowd control. So the fact that the first recourse for the police has to be the use of batons is an issue. And the second, and then the next level of force is actually the use of weapons. They have nothing in between, pepper spray or any of those other non-lethal things to deal with disorder. So that seems to be something structurally that has to be addressed by the police force.
In one video, an officer is seen hitting a group of young men lined off on a wall. And in another, baton-wielding officers could be seen hitting and stomping several others. 2 of those victims have since filed formal complaints with the police force complaints unit. The PLP leader called the situation concerning.
That concern has been heightened over the last year and a half because of the numbers of complaints that we're having in relation to police brutalities and police killings. We're also more concerned because of the apparent investigative practices that have been exposed recently on how they're going about in investigating matters.